Right. So, what we discussed in the previous sessions about the scaled part in context to the scaled agile thing. Now, today I'm going to discuss about one of the value system which normally we use in the field of agile is called XP, which is called extreme programming. So, because if you remember, when I have given you an introduction about agile, etc., because agile is one of the methodology we use applications due to the short iteration development which we are supposed to work on. At the same time, there are other different frameworks and processes we use in Agile because something like Scrum. Scrum is kind of framework. Scrum is not a methodology, okay? Agile is a methodology or a practice, I can say. So apart from that, Scrum is a kind of framework which can be used to work on short iterations. If you have any short iterations for about a week or two, three, four, and all, generally uh, we use Scrum framework. At the same time, there is another model which is called Kanban because Kanban is also Kanban is a lean model because when people who are working on manufacturing will use this Kanban model. The major difference between Kanban to Scrum is that when it comes to the uh, Scrum model and all that. So whatever the work we supposed to do will be based on the sprints. But whereas when it comes to the context of Kanban, it's not something like sprints, like what are the tasks we have taken and all everything, development will be taken place. Majorly in the field of manufacturing, people uses more of lean Kanban. Now, one of the prominent framework, which I don't say framework, one of the prominent value system rather than agile this thing, it's I always call this as an agile extreme programming value system is called XP, which is majorly used for uh, developing different applications irrespective of the technology domain we are using, because XP is one of the practice, I can say, a value system or a practice, XP practices, wherein when it comes to the implementation of XP, here is a connection we need to understand. XP is not something we implement as separate. Okay, underline this point because XP is a practice value system or itself is called as a practice, wherein this practice of XP can be incorporated with Scrum framework because Scrum is completely based on the time framing, kind of like sprint developments will be done. We do the sprint developments, etc. So whenever we are working on the sprint developments, and when it comes to the Scrum implementation of the frameworks, what we have defined and what we are using on, XP is also one of that kind. Like XP is an extreme programming, as I stated, wherein this XP practices has to be implemented in it. So now, when we want to implement extreme practices, there are different practice systems we have. What are those practice systems? I'll discuss in some time. Because there are some like pair programming. At the same time, we have a development methodologies called TDD, MDD, right? So different things are there that I'll be explaining in coming time. So XP, as what I said, like it is completely based on the value system what we have identified, and whatever the implementation, everything we do, everything is based on it. So there are different value systems we use or the feedback processes which normally we used when we are working on XP, extreme programming, wherein one of the development methodologies like TDD and all everything will be used on it. But when it comes to the value systems, not only the value systems, when we try to understand the value systems from the deeper context of XP values, what are the values? Because this is something more or less like you can compare with Agile manifesto. Because in the Agile, we have 4 manifesto principles, you know that, right? So because individuals interactions. At the same time, agile values or manifesto, usually we call it as individuals in interactions. Customer representative will also be a part of the project. Last minute changes can be done. So these are the four basic value systems or the manifesto we follow in Agile. Okay, because Agile is a practicing system, value system, I can say. In the same manner, XP is also more or less like an Kanban, and more or less like an Agile one. But Agile has different value systems here. So these value systems are classified into four different parts. The first value system is called communication. This is the first value system which communication is more of. Second one will be called as simplicity. The third one is called feedback, courage, followed by respect. So these are the five value systems which are there when we are trying to impart XP practices in application development, because XP is also one of the core element under the umbrella of Agile. Because Agile, as Agile manifesto principles, whatever we see when we are trying to impart, end of the day, this is all something which is connecting to the mindset, because end of the day, mindset matters a lot. People who are working on Agile should have a mindset in such a way where they should able in a position to work on this effectively. Because as long as team is not confident in terms of the mindset they were planning on, because mindset means it's very simple, especially when we follow Agile, there will be no individual contribution will be identified. Underline this point. What is meant by individual contribution means when there is a task which was taken by the team, recognition will be given to the particular team, not for an individual, because there is no individual roles and responsibilities will be elevated. End of the day, this is all something based on the teamwork, which people should supposed to work on, right? So it's all based on the teamwork. So based on the teamwork, implementation has to be taken place. That's how generally the value system which was created, the value system which we need to be understood with. So Agile value system is that way, because Agile value system wherein you have to give an equal importance for all the people who is working. At the same time, people should also think in that manner, right? No individual success will be elevated. No individual success will be, I don't say recognize, will not be elevated, because end of the day, group work is the final teamwork, as well as the group teamwork is something which normally we considered most of the times. In the same grounds, whenever we are working on XP value systems and all, there are five value systems we have. One is about communication, simplicity, feedback, courage, respect, all that. Now, let us discuss about what exactly communication is. Means if you want to work on XP, what are the different value systems do we require to follow? Okay, the first one is called communication. Please make a note of this, Parul. Please make a note of it. First point is communication. Under the value systems, the first one called values, communication. Write down under this. As far as XP is concerned, please make a note. As far as XP is concerned, it emphasizes more on the interaction between the team and customer. Between the team and customer means direct interaction between the team and customer is what something which XP majorly deals with it. Because if you can again go back to the Agile and if you can relate this point, because Agile has an advantage. What was that? Agile has an advantage where customer representative will be a part of the project. Am I right? Yes, sir.
Yes.
So when customer is also a part of the project, so customer will let you know. Either it can be a customer representative, whatever that we can say. Customer representative will give us the clear, will clarity over what is that they require, right? What will be the timelines they have, right? So everything will be explained by the customer. In the same manner, whenever we follow a practice of XP in context to the extreme programming, whenever we are discussing about the first value system is all about communication. Especially XP majorly emphasizes on the communication among the team. Team means team as well as the customer, maybe in different forms, right? Either you may be communicating them by conducting some meetings, or else if there is any kind of tools, are we using it, or else in any of the manner which is viable for us to work on. So communication between these two people are something essentially required. This is what the first point was. Now, the second point called simplicity. Please make a note. XP majorly focuses on XP majorly focuses on making the design of the system as simple as possible. As simple as possible. Continuation, comma, continuation. Results in, this results in, otherwise. Right? So this results in reducing the maintenance cost and time. Reducing the maintenance cost and time. Next, reducing the support activities. Reducing the support activities. And also provide an easy revision. Also provide an easy revision of the work which team should supposed to work. XP in XP, the major advantage in XP, one of the value system we focus is we try to simplify the system design as simple as it is, right? Because we don't try to put more complexity for the system design. Because when you talk about system design means application design I'm talking about. Because application design have a lot of things. Even business level understanding is required in this. At the same time, application level understanding, because what application we are developing, in what way other applications were interconnected with this. Either it can be an on-premise application, or it can be cloud application or something of that sort. Along with this, even uh, it can be a data related application, data architecture, because how the data flow and data processing will be initiated in between. Or else it can be systems architecture. Systems architecture means what are the different systems and infrastructure we are using to maintain. Okay, so all these things comes under the architecture of the project. Means if we want to create any kind of system design for any of the project, we need to consider all this. This is where usually we call it as enterprise architecture. We call it as. So enterprise architecture means combining both business architecture, application systems, data architecture, right? So all these things will be used in this. In the same manner, whenever we are working on application development, it's always majorly we focus more on the simplicity part. So making it the design of the application or the design of the system must be as simple as it can be. Because again, system design again will be micro level understanding if you can go for high level design and low level design. I'm talking about from the architect point of view, okay, not by a agile professional point of view. Architect people who are involving in the architecture of the project, right? So high level design means whatever the high level goals and results which we wants to achieve in. Low level design means for that particular application, how many lines of code we need to write, how many programs and logics which we have to write. So for that, what kind of data structure we want to use, what are the algorithms do we require to use? If there is any kind of errors were identified and all, how to address these errors by implementing different design patterns. So these are all something which are comes under the level of system level designing when we are developing the application. So hence it is always important for us to understand about the system design levels and all everything for sure, which must be evident and clear to all the people. At the same time, whatever the designs of the systems we are going to use must be as simple as it can be. That's how generally the simplicity come into picture. Now, the third point, feedback. Please make a note. In XP, feedback helps the team to identify team to identify the areas of improvement, the areas of improvement within the within the product within the product and also working practices and also working practices. Means in XP, one of the value system we focus more on about the feedback, because continuous feedback over the performance of the application, how it is moving on, is essentially required. Because if you have an option to get the feedback, so that we have an advantage where we can make whatever the kind of changes, right? So expectation versus reality, these are the two things. What customer is expecting, what is that are we doing, what is that we possible, right? So we need to have a constant identify the constant difference between as is and to be is what something which is required. So hence it is always important for us to understand about the feedback. Feedback will give you an option for us to know all this, right? So this is where generally feedback come into picture. The next one called courage. Please make a note. Courage. In XP practices, in XP practices, impart a courage, impart courage within the team members, within the team members of accepting the negative feedback, of accepting the negative feedback, based on that, based on that, applying changes, whatever required, what apply changes, whatever is required, are important. Whatever required are important. Am I audible to you? Parul?
Yes, yes, now it is.
Uh, Power, yeah,
Hello?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Right. So we have to inculcate a courage among the team so that they should able in a position to accept the negative feedback. Subsequently, whatever the changes required, they should able in a position to do it. That sort of system we have to develop. Next point, respect. Respect. Respecting, yes, and when we are implementing XP practices, when we are implementing XP practices, creating an environment of of mutual respect over the over the